Next, I'd like to welcome Tim Peter to the stage. Tim has extensive hospitality industry, is very engaged in social media, has some really good insights into how companies can work better with the web and enhance their presence there. So I personally am looking very forward to Tim's presentation. So Tim Peter.
I had it pointed out to me just before I came on stage, the image on the far side of the tapestry. And so if I see a lot of tweets about the horse's ass on stage, I'm going to assume you're talking about that picture. So speaking of pictures, I'd like everybody to take, I expect a lot of you spend a lot of your time looking at things like this all day. What you see on screen, right? We probably look at this all the time. But take a deep look at it for a second. What's going on this page? Right? We've got natural search. We've got paid search. We've got maps. We've got ratings. We've got prices. We have social integration. Think about this for a second. At your company, whose job is this? I don't mean the pieces. I mean the whole of it. Whose job is this, right? When we look at Google, we see the same thing. We see natural results. We see paid results. We see maps. We see images. We see ratings and reviews. And we've got prices again. When we think about the OTAs, you got natural results. You've got paid results. You've got images. You've got maps. You've got ratings. Whose job is this in your company, right? Not the pieces, the entirety of it. And of course, we got prices. This is social. This is the new Google Plus Places page. Just came out last week. I'm sure many of you have seen it. I'm sure some of you have not, right? But you all know Google Places. Well, now this is Google Places moved into Google Plus. But they've done quite a lot in terms of integrating social, in terms of integrating ratings. So you wondered what they were going to do with Zagat. This is Zagat in there now. I never know how to pronounce that much. We've got ratings, reviews from customers. We've got maps. We've got imagery. And we've got prices. And now we get into this deeply immersive experience where you can walk around the square, right? See this experience it firsthand, which customers want to do. Customers love to enjoy that travel experience before they travel. So we've got these rich imagery. We've got paid search results. We've got ratings. We've got reviews. We've got prices. Whose job is this? Right? If you look at the sites visited across all e-commerce before people make a purchase decision, it is up to about 12, okay, across all of e-commerce. People visit 12 sites before they make a purchase decision. It's gone up about 100% in the last year, right? That's all e-commerce. Travel, it's actually significantly higher. It's now 22, up from about 17 a couple of years ago. And I would put it to you, the people in this room, that the reason that people spend so much time doing this, the reason that they look in so many places is because we're worried about the pieces and we're not worried about the whole. Right? Think about whose job this is to answer the customer's question. Think about whose job this is to solve for the customer's problem. Think about whose job this is to actually solve the customer's questions and get them to actually purchase. Because the risk we run as people involved in hotel distribution, as people involved in selling, right, is not that the customer will buy from our competitor. It's that the customer will choose not to buy at all. They will just keep looking. And it's not like they suffer from a lack of choices. They have every choice. By the way, I didn't know Milani wasn't going to be here. I put Orbitz up front. Now she's not here. But we've gone from an environment, right? We've been promised for years, right, to put the right price in front of the right customer in the right channel at the right time. And so instead, since we haven't actually done that, instead what we've done is put every price in front of every customer in every channel at every time. right? And we give them every option in the world to book, but they keep looking. Now, some of you may look at this and say, but that's a marketing channel, right? That's not a distribution channel, that's a marketing channel. I would say when you talk about online, what's the difference? I don't think there is one. I think the minute you have a buy button, you go from a marketing channel to a distribution channel. And if you're one click away from a buy button, what's the difference? So think about whose job this is to answer the question. Now, I'm not going to just leave that as a question. I'm going to give you some answers. We're going to come to that in a minute. But this is how important it is to customers. This is how important it is to customers. Here's a product that customers cannot legally buy in some parts of the world. And so they've taken it upon themselves to say, let's find out what the prices are of this and where can I get this, right? I love this. This is my favorite part, by the way. Law enforcement and social acceptance. That's how much people care. They can't legally buy this, and they're creating the data. They've become their own distribution resource. Well, I suppose in weed, they've been distribution resource for years, but I'm also not going to tell you how I found this site. But that's what's going on, right? People care a lot. They want the answer to the question. And so when somebody says, well, that's not my job, that's marketing's job, or that's revenue management's job, or that's somebody else's job, the customer says, the hell with it, I'll do it myself. Whose job is it to answer those questions? So let's talk about the customer for a second. Fundamentally, you can boil all customers down to 4 types of people. Fundamentally, right? This is actually a process known as creating personas. And people spend a lot of money developing personas to talk about customer behaviors and things like that. There's a quick and dirty and simple way to do it, which is, do people make their decisions fast or do they make them slow? And do they do it out of emotion or do they do it out of logic? Fundamentally, you can cluster people into one of those 4 decisions, one of those 4 groups. So people who are fast, they're dominant, they're ambitious, they're competitive, they're going to get the right answer because doggone it, they're going to win, right? People who are fast and emotional, right? They're impulsive. They want to do something because it's fun. This is awesome, right? We're going to do this right now, right? People who are analytical and organized, right? The slow thinkers. They're the types who create spreadsheets. They create lots and lots of spreadsheets to evaluate every price. I've actually seen customers do this. Years ago, I did an ethnographic study where we went out and watched customers as they conducted the travel purchasing process. And we literally saw people printing out page after page after page and laying them out on their dining room table to think about the purchase process. Right? That's those folks. And then in the last quadrant, you've got people who are reliable, they're predictable, they're slow, but they're more emotionally driven. Those are your customers. You can think about every customer falling into one of those 4 blocks. Okay? I personally believe you got to solve for the fast people first, because if you don't solve for the fast people first, they'll move on. They're gone. Right? And I ultimately think that everybody's really driven by emotion. Even the logical ones, they've got to feel it, right? They want to answer 2 questions, two very simple questions. If you take nothing else away from today, these are the 2 questions that customers care about. The 2 questions are, am I going to enjoy it when I get there? Is it going to meet my expectations? Fundamentally. And the second question is, why should I buy from you? Whoever you happens to be in this equation. If you can answer those 2 questions, you win. That's the job. When I talk about whose job it is, that's the job. It's to answer those 2 questions. Will I enjoy it? Why should I buy it from you? And if you do that well, you win. You do that poorly, they're going to keep shopping. So what does the customer do? Well, they go online. Is that what they do? They don't do that, right? Customers don't go online. Customers are online, right? They carry the internet in their pocket. They do, all the time, everywhere. I'm sure you all know this story. I worked at Ramada for years, and I always think of this as being a Ramada story. I'm sure the Marriott people will tell you this is a Marriott story. I'm sure that the Sheraton people will tell you this is a Sheraton story, but it was Ramada. And what happened was a customer came into a Ramada, was driving, long day of driving, came off exit, whatever in New Mexico, pulled into the parking lot, walked up to the front desk and said, "I'd like a rate for tonight." And they said, "It's $139. They said, "Let me think about that." Went over to the lobby bar, pulled out their laptop, connected to the free Wi-Fi in the lobby, went on to insert your favorite OTA here, found the room for $99, booked it, walked up to the front desk and said, "I'd like to check in." Okay? The only difference between then and today is today they wouldn't have to go into the lobby to use the Wi-Fi. Because today they carry the internet in their pocket. Now, which of these icons up here is a distribution channel? Think about that for 1 second. It's a trick question. They are all distribution channels, right? Obviously, you've got the web. You've got your website. You've got traditional OTAs, things like that. You've got phone, right? You've got email marketing. You have what I consider the traditional OTAs. They've now been around long enough that they're so established they're traditional, right? You've got ratings and review sites. You've got maps and GPS, distribution opportunities. You've got the social networks, the big four: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, the big four globally. I realize in some markets there are some others. Location-based services, the Foursquares of the world. Alternative searches, right? Alternative search engines, new distribution channels coming along. You've got things like social photo sharing sites, the Pinterests of the world, the Instagrams of the world. Did you all know that if you put a price on a photo in Pinterest, if you put a price on it, it becomes something that can be sold, right? That's a distribution opportunity. You've got media partners. You've got voice search, right? Again, new forms of search, which we're going to talk more about in just a second. Okay? How many people have tried to do a search for a hotel using Siri, by the way? It's crap. It's a total nightmare. It gives you a Yelp results page, right? And it's a monstrosity. That's a distribution opportunity that is being missed today. Because whose job is that? Siri's somebody else's job. Right? We haven't seen games as a form of presenting material to presenting marketing and distribution to customers yet, but we should. Right? If somebody's playing a round of online golf, right? Why can't they simply then walk off the course and tour the hotel virtually? Right? And the one I can't figure out yet is how to make music work, but doggone it, somebody in this room is smart enough to solve that. All right? So those are all distribution opportunities for you. All of them. But again, we don't think about whose job it is to solve for that. We solve for the pieces a lot. Right? Now, social is a really big deal, obviously. You've got YouTube, you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, things along those lines. I believe that pretty soon they're all going to merge. And the reality is, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on social today. There's another session tomorrow, which I actively encourage you all to attend. It's presented by the horse's ass. But the idea is that social is everywhere, right? Just like the internet is something you carry in your pocket, you carry your entire social network with you in your pocket. And that's yet another place where people find out information. So for instance, everyone here know Instagram? Instagram is a photo sharing site, okay? Very, very, very popular among 18 to 20, well, actually 13 to 24-year-olds, okay? But this is somebody took a photo. Man, I love sitting out here and doing my work, and somebody says, where is this? Well, this is the Crystal Springs Resort. It's a distribution opportunity. It's an opportunity to put your hotel in front of a customer, to put your product in front of a customer if you're an intermediary, if you're a third party, right? Those are opportunities to step in and say, not only that, but look what we can do for you at Crystal Springs Resort. Look what we can do for you to put you in the right hotel at the right time, at the right price. That's for somebody in the back. Okay? That's what that's about. And this is such an important opportunity for people. One of the reasons you might have heard of Instagram is Facebook just paid $1 billion to buy it because they realize how important that is. Now, obviously, a lot of the people who are using it may not be your customers today, but they're going to be your customers pretty soon. Actually, what's really funny is I played that slide before with the dial tone for my 16-year-old daughter. 16, just a few years away from traveling on her own, right? And she said, oh, I recognize that sound. I've seen old movies. Right. But Facebook, $1 billion for this. This is a huge, underutilized opportunity. There's a lot of photos. And I looked hard. I found maybe 4 hotel accounts. Maybe. Big opportunity being missed. Mobile. So social, we talked about a little bit. Now mobile. Obviously, mobile and social are intimately related, especially when you start talking about 3G and 4G, when you start talking about true high-speed internet-connected phones. There are about 1 billion 3G subscribers in the world. That's a good number. Anything with a B at the front of it is a good number to start to think about. And it's huge in most parts of the world. But it's still in the cave painting days. Okay? Mobile is critically important. I'm not going to get up here and tell you that the very first thing you should worry about is mobile. It is a thing you should worry about. It is a thing you should be focused on because it is a critical channel as how people will access the internet, particularly in developing parts of the world. Right? And just to show you how big the opportunity is, when we talk about 3G, first, when we talk about people being in the cave painting days, it's actually true for a lot of online technologies, period. Right? I've been doing this for 16 or 17 years. And people ask me from time to time, did you go to college for this? Well, no. They didn't have this when I went to college. Didn't exist. Right? We are still in the cave painting days. Most of these things have existed for less than 10 years. You can't see the numbers along the bottom. There's a 10 way over here before that first line. Okay? But here's where the opportunity exists, right? About 1 billion smartphone subscribers. There are 6 billion mobile phones in the world. That's a huge upside. It's about 18% penetration between the people who have smartphones and the people who have mobile phones. And there are a lot of companies who have had a lot of success at reaching those 6 billion folks who don't have smartphones. I would contend that most of those people are not yet hotel customers, but there are opportunities there. Look at what banks are doing in places like India and South Africa, right? In terms of actually interacting with customers very effectively through text. Whose job is that? Just to give an example of the sorts of opportunities that will exist out there in fairly short order. This is Mary Meeker is this internet analyst, just puts out a report periodically talking about the state of the internet and where it's going. And this is what Mary Meeker refers to as the internet white space. Right? These are 3 channels that are underutilized for internet penetration. Right? The ear, owing to better devices, so things like Siri, being able to actually interact with the internet via speech interface. Car. In the United States, we spend 52 minutes per day. 144 million Americans spend 52 minutes a day disconnected. That's a big opportunity. TV. Americans spend 3 hours a day in front of the television. Right? Many of them with a tablet or something else in front of them. So these are all huge opportunities. But whose job is that to think about that as a distribution channel? And then, of course, we've got the web, right? Is this an engaging, exciting, phenomenal experience? And I'm being a little mean. This is a client of mine. This is not what their site looks like any longer, right? Is that the sort of experience that customers are going to expect as we move forward, when we can get these deeper, richer, more immersive experiences, right? That's not going to be a great experience. Let me show you what is a great experience.
Way too quickly.
All right.
Milan, get a corner.
No goals here. No goals. Oh, get that! Put that in. Oh, that's a post.
Oh, that was so
That's a
close.
post for Silva.
Darn.
Okay, that wasn't a TV. That was not TV. That was a video game, right? That was a video game being played by two guys across the network in real time at two different parts of the country, right? Deep, rich, immersive experiences. Okay? When we talk about travel, our kids are time travelers, right? Because they're living in the 21st century way more than most of us are when they sit down and do things like this. And then they get on a school bus and they take a step back in time and travel into the 19th century. Right? And just, I'm going to show you one more. This one I had to clean up a little bit, but I'm going to tell you, this is an odd one, but think about what you're watching here. Oh, I don't know what
I like
sound.
roofs. I like stairs. That's my team over there. What's up, buddy? Guys, it looks like you could get in that base all by yourself. Let's climb higher. Can we? Yes. You guys got, okay, fine. They have that floor?
Okay, that's somebody walking around a building in a video game, right? Why couldn't that be your hotel? Why couldn't that be your resort? Right? Probably not with a gun. Yeah, I know, I'm an American. Guns are cool. No, it's nothing like that at all. But why couldn't that be? In fact, the hotel I showed you a minute ago, I can't show this, I don't have a good way to show this live, but if anybody wants to see later, I will show you a virtual tour, which if you look at it on an iPhone, because it's got an accelerometer, or an Android phone, right? You hold up the virtual tour and you can walk around the space. Right? Because it's sensing your motion. Deep, rich, immersive experiences. And a distribution opportunity. Right? That needs to be somebody's job. So whose job is it? Well, what I don't want you to do is walk out of here, go back to your company and say, we got to blow up our org chart. Our org chart is stupid. Right? It's not the case. Your org chart is what your org chart is. And you're free to have whatever org chart works for your organization. Okay? There's lots of different ways that you can organize your company that make sense for you. Okay? What I am here to tell you is, remember silos? Silos suck. That's an industry term. Silos, death. If you hear silos, think we're dead. We're dead. Seriously, right? Because it's not rev management's job, and it's not distribution's job, and it's not marketing's job, and it's not e-commerce's job, right? You have to work together, because if we're thinking about that big picture and not the individual pieces of the picture, right? That cannot be one person's job, it cannot be one group's job, and it cannot be one silo's job. And if you make it one silo's job, you will fail. That's the message you should take back to the people you work with. Here's an example. The top search term used before a customer books always includes the word price. Always, right? Top search term, always, by far, right? It typically includes something else. So price for this hotel, price for this location, right? In most organizations, is that rev management's job? Or is that your internet marketing team's job? Silos suck. They got to work together. Have to. So distribution, it does not matter if you're in distribution. It does not matter if you're in marketing. It doesn't matter if you're in rev management, if you're in sales, if you're in e-commerce, if you're in distribution. The distribution group will say it twice. You've got to work together on this. That's whose job it is. Right? It is all your job to work together. To say, we're thinking about the big picture. We're thinking about how to answer those two questions for our customers. We're thinking about how to make those work, right? And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about central res or GDS or voice or website or third party or mobile apps or mobile web or anything that comes in the future. You've got to work together on this, because the future is where a lot of this is going to happen, right? We don't know what is going to be the next marketing channel and what is going to be the next distribution channel the minute they add a button to buy or the minute they give you a link to click through to buy. So it's got to work together. That's whose job it is, and that is the job. So in leaving you, think about this. When you think about whose job it is, right, you want to answer two questions. Am I going to enjoy it when I get there? And why should I buy from you? And that is your job. I'd very much like to thank HEDNA and all of you for your time. And I hope you have a great conference while you're here and spend your time thinking about solving for that job. All right. Thank you all very much.